What's happening, everybody?
Oh my gosh.
Y'all, this is crazy.
It is windy out here. We've got, how many miles an hour is this wind? It's a lot.
Probably 20-mile-an-hour sustained winds.
Y'all might think we're crazy for trying to get out here and
up
fish.
to 25. Check it out right here, people. Yeah, she's pretty sporty out here today. Different. We're gonna do some fish catching action, catching some redfish, but we're gonna show y'all how to catch fish in the wind.
So today we're going to be bringing you guys little tips and tutorials on how to cast and fish in the wind in the midst of really sporty and crummy conditions.
That's right, people. All right, let's get this tutorial started, and we're gonna go out, we're gonna catch us some fish, and we're gonna show y'all how to do it. Oh my gosh, we're running over a crab pot, and this wind is blowing us all around everywhere. So that was a close call right there, people. These crab pots are everywhere. It's really windy. Y'all, this is crazy.
Do you
Look.
guys think we can catch? All right, look at my hair. That's how windy it is.
All right, people, Captain Christie's on the wheel. We're out on the Dolphin Dancer, and let's go get to it. Here we go.
All right, no complaining, Jeff.
Blow up.
Where? You got hit? Oh, I'm on. That's a fish. All right, y'all. Nice little puppy drum. Get up on here into the boat, mister. All right, y'all. You guys, today is probably the windiest, chilly day we've had in quite some time. Beautiful redfish tucked back right over here. Let him go. Back to Mother Nature. Y'all, don't call it quits even if it's windy out.
People, observe the worst anchor line ever presented to any YouTube channel in the history of fishing. I know, I need a new anchor line.
Dang, whoa. There he is, and I'm on. Y'all, we are getting it. There is a big school of reds out here. There are blow up after blow up. It is just feeding frenzy. My gosh. Jeff's jealous back there. He hasn't gotten on one yet. You'll get him. All right. Small little pup, but still fun. Doing a lot of boat flipping today. Oh. All right, you guys, so here he is, beautiful spot on the tail. I think we are definitely into a nice school. All right, y'all, so what we came here for, and this area is producing. Here we go. See ya, bud.
Fish, there we go.
Yeah?
Yep, here we go. All right, y'all, I'm on. They're up shallow. He's running right towards the boat. Nice. Come on in here. Dang, how beautiful that tail is. Dang, that tail is about the same color as my shirt.
Yep, we're on. Another fish.
Fish, there we go. There's one. Right off the dock. All right, people. This is our 4th drum of the day. Little pup. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice. Look at this guy thrashing. Come in here. Dang, that's a fun size fish. All right, people. Catching these redfish out here, windy conditions, but we are making it happen.
Sporty conditions.
Very sporty.
Literally, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Y'all, this is why fishing in the wind absolutely is just not, let's be honest, it's just not fun. I'm trying to do a tutorial right now, and all of my lures that I was gonna show y'all and my baits, they just ended up blowing everywhere all over the boat. So even doing tutorials is always interesting, fishing in the wind. But here are some tips and just some different things that y'all can do to help y'all out fishing in the wind. So this is going to be primarily for inshore saltwater fishing, so trout, redfish, snook, flounder, striped bass. Okay, so I think I got a quick break in the wind, so let me be quick. So I'm going to show you guys first examples of baits that I do not like to fish with in the wind. Like, for instance, a jerk shad or a shrimp. So these are baits, lures, so these are baits that I do not like to fish with in the wind. Why do I not like to fish these baits in the wind? Because a shrimp, for instance, you need to apply the specific action to this bait to make it realistic so the fish will eat it. And that is typically something that you're gonna be hopping. So the shrimp, hold on, oh, we're getting a gust here. So the shrimp and the jerk shad I'm a little bit more open to fishing with in the wind, but what I do like to fish with in the wind is something that has like a swimming motion. Oh my gosh, there it goes.
And there it goes. Yeah, this is what happens when you guys try and do a tutorial in the wind.
That's right.
Let alone fish it, so.
All right.
Here we go, back to
Okay,
Jeff.
we're back at it. So, let me pull this out of the net here. Maybe I should just keep the net over top of all this stuff. There we go. I like to have something, let me try and find it. Like these Z-Man MinnowZs is a bait that you can hop, you can swim it, it's a lot more versatile than a shrimp is. A shrimp, you have to have a specific action to it. The main thing to talk about when you're fishing in the wind is you're gonna be compromising the technique that you apply to your lure, because you're gonna have a big bow in your line. We're gonna show y'all how to fish these lures in the wind and how to maximize fish catching in terms of baits. I don't like something that I have to apply a specific action to, like a shrimp. You have to bounce it. You can swim it, but you're typically gonna get a lot of your hookups when you're bouncing it. And that's something that you're not really gonna be able to do as effectively when you're fishing in the wind. So you're gonna have that big bow in your line, and it's just hard to apply a specific action, especially when you're fishing like a shallow flat where Christina and I are at right now. It's very tough because you're just not gonna have as much contact to the bait. So again, so that's why I like something that has like a swimming motion. So I've got, this is probably my favorite lure when I fish in the wind, because I can swim it, I can do like a slow, steady retrieve. If I get a break in the wind, like right now I'm getting a gust of wind, so you're gonna get a big bow in your line. But if I can swim it and then I can drop it down and then I can hop it just a little bit, that's a-okay. So this right here is what we've been catching our redfish on today. Another lure another bait that I'll use, Berkeley Gulp swimming mullet, but if I had to pick one that'd be my favorite, it would be the MinnowZ. So this is it right here, Z-Man MinnowZ. That would be my favorite bait to fish with in the wind. Another pro tip for fishing in the wind is us fishing with a popping cork in the wind. A popping cork will allow you to get longer casts that will cut through the wind because it's heavier. So a popping cork is absolutely perfect. It's ideal to fish within the wind. Another lure that you can fish within the wind that I'm showing y'all footage of right now is a spoon. So this footage that I'm showing y'all is one of the windiest days that Christy and I have ever fished, but it was also one of the most productive days because we were just slow rolling spoons across a flat in the Outer Banks with our great friend, Captain Aaron Beatson of Cobia Killer. So shout out Captain Aaron Beatson. So it was like sustained winds of like 15 miles an hour with gusts up to 25. So when you're fishing in the wind, I like something that you can swim and it's not a specific like hopping action that you have to apply to that lure. Now, let's say you did want to fish a shrimp or you have live shrimp that you want to fish with. That's totally fine. Guess what you can do? Put this underneath of a popping cork. that's how you can get around that. If you do want to fish shrimp, put it underneath of a popping cork. Because when you throw a popping cork out, yeah, you're still gonna get your bow in the line, but the cork is gonna almost anchor your line down on top of the water. So you're still able to apply that correct action when you are fishing a shrimp underneath of a popping cork. So that's what I would recommend if you do want to fish a popping cork. Another thing that you can do is I like to fish Mirrolures in the wind. Mirrolures, you actually want a little bit of slack in your line when you're applying the action to a Mirrolure. If y'all do not know how to fish a Mirrolure, if y'all don't know how to fish a Mirrolure, then go to, I'll have a link somewhere in this video about how to fish a Mirrolure correctly. But a Mirrolure is so a Mirrolure is gonna be great to fish with in the wind, Paul Brown, anything like that, because you do want to give it that appropriate action on a little bit of a slack line. That's what's gonna allow it to, you know, have that kind of darting action to it. So a Mirrolure is great to fish with in the wind. Again, just anything that you're gonna be like jigging on the bottom, that you're making long casts across the flat, and you wanna be like bouncing that jig on the bottom. If you're in Florida, you're in Texas, somewhere that you're even, you know, up here in Virginia, that you're fishing across a shallow flat, and you've got oyster rocks, and so you've got oysters, you've got grass and everything. It's gonna be really tough to apply that action to a shrimp, especially on like a 1/8 ounce jig head. Typically when I'm fishing, this is about anywhere from a 2 to 4 foot flat that we're on right here that we've been catching redfish on. So typically we'd fish a 1/8 ounce jig head. We might up that to a 1/4 ounce jig head when we're fishing in the wind. So when you're doing a 1/4 ounce jig head, it's okay, because actually the bow in your line is almost gonna pull the lure up just a little bit off the bottom. So your lure is not gonna sink as much as it would when there's like no wind and it's super slick calm. So you wanna go ahead and just up it. If you're normally fishing a 1/8 ounce jig head, then fish a 1/4 ounce. If you're fishing a 1/4 ounce, then you can do a 3/8 ounce jig head. Super easy. So those are some quick tips for y'all to fish within the wind. Hopefully those help. So if you guys want to do it, so just in short, I like to fish swimming baits, whether it's a Mirrolure, you know, the Z-Man, MinnowZ. Mirrolure also makes a soft plastic that's kind of got the same action to it. Berkeley Gulp, swimming mullet as well. It just, because also with these lures, even when you're not applying action with your rod, whether it's moving in the water or even if it's staying still, a fish is still gonna be inclined to go after this. Like when this is staying still in the water, look at that. You're still getting action on the tail. Same thing that's gonna happen with this Berkeley Gulp swimming mullet. So these are these are baits that are gonna increase your hookup ratio, or I should say your strike ratio when you're fishing in the wind, because again, you can fish it, you can bounce it, slow roll it, a lot more versatile.
I'm gonna show you guys now how to properly cast in the wind. So as we cast out, I'm gonna be tethering the line with my hand, almost cupping the spool, and then right when my bait hits the water, obviously close the bail, but what you guys are minimizing is just getting a ton of line out there, because that wind is literally gonna pick up your line and you're gonna have all of this slack in your line. There's gonna be a big bow. You don't want that. So if you guys literally just almost softly cup your spool, that'll kind of help to tether the line and only let out enough line for the bait to hit the water. Once it hits the water, I like to kind of reel up all that slack, and then that way you guys aren't fishing with this massive bow in your line, and you can feel when that fish strikes your lure and can actually get a good hook set.
That's right, y'all. You always want to have contact with your lure. That's in any type of fishing, whether it's zero wind, high wind, whatever. So you always want to have contact with your lure. So just like Christy said, cast out, and a lot of people, those wind knots get formed because you wait too long to flip the bail over. It doesn't be a ton of line the wind pulls off of your spool, just a little bit of line extra that gets pulled off your spool. That's something that's gonna help to create those crappy wind knots. So you guys really want to tether the line with your hand. As soon as your bait hits the water, then you're pretty much already reeling down to get that, minimize that big bow in your line. That way you're gonna have contact with the lure and you're gonna minimize those wind knots.